Before his death, Murong Chui, the regent and chancellor of the former Yan Dynasty, repeatedly warned Emperor Murong Wei that after his death, the Qin state and the eastern Jin would invade Yan. He also recommended the appointment of the distinguished General Murong Chui as the Grand Marshal to ensure the safety of Yan, but Murong Wei ignored his advice. In April of 369, 2 years after Murong Chui's death, events unfolded just as Murong Chui had forewarned during his lifetime. The Grand Marshal of the Eastern Jin, Huan Wen, personally led 50,000 infantry and cavalry in a northern expedition to invade the former Yan dynasty. Huan Wen had been eyeing the former Yan for many years but had refrained from launching an invasion out of fear of Murong Chui's formidable reputation. Huan Wen, a powerful minister and distinguished general of the Eastern Jin, was known for his cautious approach. He only launched the northern expedition after Murong Chui's death, when the Yan court was in turmoil. The Xianbei people were skilled horsemen, while the people of the south excelled at navigating rivers. Huan Wen led his army by boat along the river, which kept his soldiers from tiring easily and made it convenient to transport provisions and other military supplies. However, when the waterway was interrupted midway, Huan Wen had a 300 kilometers canal dug to connect to the Yellow River. Unfortunately, the newly dug canal was too shallow and situated on high ground, resulting in insufficient water flow. During the dry season, it was difficult for large ships to continue navigating and transporting supplies. Huan Wen's chief strategist, Qi Chao, advised him to abandon the water route. He suggested that the entire army carry only essential provisions and advance swiftly over land, bypassing fortresses and heading directly for the Yan capital, Yeqing. They will be intimidated by your formidable reputation, he said. In their panic, they may very well abandon the city and flee north to Liaoxi. If they hastily engage in battle, it would provide us the perfect opportunity to annihilate their main forces. Even if they decide to defend Yeqing, they won't have time to implement a scorched earth strategy, leaving the crops and populace outside the city for us to take advantage of. If you think this approach is too risky, you could stop advancing here and build fortifications instead. Spend a year stockpiling grain and supplies in this area, and then launch the attack next summer. Although this method is slower, it would put us in an invincible position. If you disregard these two strategies and push your army north, failing to achieve a swift victory, then once the campaign drags into autumn and winter, the river's water level will decrease even further. Moreover, the cold northern weather, combined with the lack of adequate winter clothing for the soldiers, will make the situation far more concerning than just the issue of provisions. But Huan Wen ignored all the advice and stubbornly pressed on with his plan. Murong Wei was not a strong ruler. This was his first time facing such a major national crisis since losing the capable assistance of Murong Chui, and he was terrified and at a loss for what to do. The chief minister, Murong Ping, who had sidelined competent officials in the past, was corrupt and greedy, causing the nation's strength to decline and the morale of the army to falter. The Yan army, which had once been invincible under Murong Chui's leadership, was now repeatedly defeated and easily overwhelmed by the Jin forces. In July 369, Huan Wen won his first battle, capturing Hulu and taking the Yan general Murong Zhong, the general of pacifying the east, as a prisoner. In a panic, Murong Wei hastily appointed Prince Murong Li of Shapi as the grand commander of the expedition and rushed to mobilize 20,000 troops to confront Huan Wen at Huangshu, in present-day southeast Lanzhou County, Henan. The battle ended in a disastrous defeat for the Yan forces, with the entire army being annihilated. Murong Li was the only one who managed to escape on horseback. Shortly thereafter, Su Fan, the Yan governor of Gaoping, also surrendered to the Jin forces. The Jin vanguard, led by Deng Xia and Zhu Su, defeated the Yan army at Linzhou, in present-day northeast Xinjiang County, Henan. In a panic, Murong Wei quickly appointed his brother, Prince Murong Zhong of Luan, to replace Murong Li and lead the various forces to stop the Jin advance. However, the Jin army was unstoppable, and Murong Zhong was unable to hold the line, suffering defeat after defeat. Not long after, Sun Yuan, the governor of Yanzhou, rebelled and joined forces with Huan Wen. The Jin army advanced to Fangtu, a key military crossing on the Yellow River, now less than 100 li from the Yan capital, Yeqing. Emperor Murong Wei and the powerful minister Murong Ping were shocked upon hearing this news and were already considering abandoning the Central Plains and fleeing back to the former capital, Longqing. In this critical moment, Murong Chui, who had been sidelined and living in retirement, could not bear to see the Yan dynasty, which had been built over generations by the Murong family, fall to ruin. He stepped forward and said to Murong Wei, "Allow me to lead a battle. If I lose, you'll still have time to escape." With no other options, Murong Wei reluctantly agreed and appointed Murong Chui to replace Murong Zong as the Grand Commander of the Southern Campaign, commanding a total of 50,000 troops to resist Huan Wen. Murong Wei had little confidence in his fifth uncle, Murong Chui, so he sent envoys to the Qin state a second time, seeking assistance from Qin's ruler, Fu Jian. He promised to cede land west of Hulao Pass, including the ancient capital of Luoyang, to Qin in exchange for military aid. Wang Meng, Fu Jian's strategist, weighed the pros and cons and secretly advised Fu Jian, first, send troops to help Yan drive back the Jin forces, and then, once Yan was weakened, seize it. This was the rescue first and then conquer strategy. Otherwise, if Huan Wen destroyed Yan and occupied the Central Plains, Qin would face significant losses. Fu Jian agreed with this strategy and decided to send troops to rescue Yan. From Fangtu to Yeqing, although the distance was not long, there were no more waterways to navigate. The Jin army's rapid advance had outpaced their logistical support and supply lines. Additionally, Huan Wen hoped for more internal support for the Jin campaign from within Yan, so he halted at Fangtu. This hesitation allowed Murong Chui to lead the Yan forces to Fangtu in time to set up defenses, resulting in a standoff between the two armies. Murong Chui deployed the newly appointed Yan general, Shi Luoting, who captured the Jin vanguard leader Duan Si and defeated and killed the former Zhao general Li Shu. With consecutive victories, the Jin army's offensive was stalled, and the war reached a stalemate. As the autumn approached and the rainfall decreased, just as Chichao had predicted, the waterways relied upon for the Jin army's supply transport began to become increasingly obstructed. Huan Wen, known for his cautious approach, had anticipated the seasonal fluctuations in water levels and had already dispatched troops to open an alternative new waterway as a backup plan. After the Yan army secured a few small victories and reversed their string of defeats, stabilizing their position, Murong Chui immediately assigned most of his cavalry, 15,000 men, to his brother, Murong De. He instructed Murong De to secretly cross the front lines and penetrate deep into the Jin army's rear. There, Murong De launched a surprise attack on the Jin forces that were working to open the alternative new waterway, annihilating them and rendering Huan Wen's backup plan useless. Huan Wen's excessive caution and indecision once again caused him to miss the opportunity for a successful northern campaign. At this point, the situation for the Jin army stationed at Fangtu had become quite dire. Huan Wen had lost confidence in engaging Murong Chui in a decisive battle, and with the weather growing colder and the soldiers lacking proper winter clothing, he even hoped merely to withdraw the Jin forces before their supplies ran out. On September 19, Huan Wen ordered the burning of the ships, which could no longer return due to the decreased water levels in the originally navigated waterways, and the abandonment of the supplies that could not be transported. The entire army began their southward retreat by land. When news of the Jin army's retreat reached Yeqing, the crisis was averted, and the Yan people and troops were overjoyed. Many of the Yan generals were eager to pursue the retreating Jin forces, but Murong Chui stopped them. Calmly, he said to the generals, "Huan Wen has retreated in fear and will certainly establish strict defenses and deploy his best troops to cover the rear. An immediate attack might not succeed. It is better to delay. Since they are fortunate that we have not yet arrived, they will undoubtedly march swiftly day and night. We should wait until their strength is exhausted and their morale is low, then strike. At that point, we will be victorious." The cunning Murong Chui did not allow the Jin army to retreat peacefully. He sent people to spread rumors along the retreat route, claiming that rivers and wells had been poisoned by Murong De's troops. Although these rumors were absurd, Huan Wen, known for his excessive caution, became even more paranoid during the retreat. As a result, the Jin soldiers were exhausted from the constant flight and had to dig wells to drink each night. They lived in constant fear, like birds startled by arrows, and were mentally and physically drained. This was precisely what Murong Chui had hoped for, and the Jin army was forced to retreat a further 435 miles south. While the Jin army was in a state of constant panic and retreat, the Yan army was also active. Murong Chui left the infantry behind and only took 8,000 elite cavalry to quietly follow the Jin forces from behind. He maintained a considerable distance from Huan Wen's army, moving slowly and discreetly. At this time, Murong De, who had been secretly sent by Murong Chui to sabotage Huan Wen's efforts to open an alternative new waterway, had completed his mission. He led 4,000 elite cavalry to Xiangyi, where he set up an ambush in wait. When the Jin soldiers, exhausted but relieved, finally reached Xiangyi, a place not far from their homeland, they felt a great sense of relief and their spirits lifted. Just as the Jin army let their guard down, Murong Chui's 8,000 cavalry, who had been quietly trailing them, suddenly closed in with lightning speed and launched a ferocious attack. The Jin soldiers, caught off guard and in a state of panic, uncontrollably fled into Murong De's ambush. This was a meticulously planned massacre, as 12,000 well-rested Yan cavalry ruthlessly crushed the 50,000 exhausted and unprepared Jin invaders. The Jin army was decisively defeated, with more than 30,000 casualties. This battle, known as the Battle of Fangtu, became famous and established Murong Chui's reputation. Under the combined assault of the brothers Murong Chui and Murong De, the Jin army suffered a catastrophic defeat, breaking apart and fleeing southward in panic. Yet their misfortunes were not over. Hearing of the Jin army's rout, the Qin reinforcements seized the opportunity to strike. Generals Guiqi and Deng Cheng did not want to miss the chance to attack a beleaguered enemy, and their assault on the already defeated Jin forces was brutal and merciless. Huan Wen's final northern campaign ended in dismal failure.